Thank you for listening. A list of content warnings can be found in the episode description. Take care. Enjoy the show. Planescape Torment, the Unofficial audio series. A narrative let's play adapted and produced by RevocerGM, combining in-game audio with additional voice acting through dialogue and descriptions to improve your listening experience. Rediscover the amazing story of the 1999 cult classic isometric video game, Planescape Torment, like you've never heard before.
Chapters of Dust. There are chapters in the Dead Book, the massive tome which the Dustmen keep, that records the passing of all that lives into the eternal boundary. In this book, there are chapters that are naught but dust, and it is believed that the names therein are lost souls who cannot die, but must suffer life eternally, until history itself dies and grants them release.
Thank you. I have another tale to share with you. Between the Hive and the lower ward, there is an alley. This alley had come to see many things, and through the seeing, had begun to grow.
In this low-lit, pillowed chamber, you begin to tell the tale of the Alley of Lingering Sighs, the alley that had divided itself to give birth to another, to Yves, the tail chaser, one of the students of the brothel. And as you do, her eyes, wide in the candlelight, devour your every word. Her room is adorned with drapes of fabric and hanging silk. Glinting charms decorate the low shelves, and fragrant steam billows out of a small teapot set above an ornate samovar, a cocoon of mystery and warmth that invites you to share the tales of your past.
I shall remember this tale. And now, I have one for you. Before I begin, I must ask, do you know what a modron is?
No. She takes the teapot and refills you and your companion's cups.
Modrons are creatures of total law, almost more machinery than living things. There are many different sorts of modron, but all have their place in a very rigid, carefully organised hierarchy. So dedicated.
All the patrons within the brothel wear this mantle of contentment that can come only from experiencing something truly magnificent. There is, however, one group that seems somewhat less affected by the comforts of the place. Huddled together are three strange polyhedral creatures, seeming to be as much machine as organic in nature, each with four jointed arms attached to cubic bodies cased in brass, and with paper-like wings rising from their shoulders. Unlike the mechanical limbs, however, their faces sport dewy, oversized eyes and plump, pouted lips that you are not certain are supposed to be grotesque or alluring. They look almost identical to the cube-like toy that you had bought from Vrishika's curiosity shop.
Come on, Chief. We're in a building full of some of the hottest chits this side of the multiverse, and you're stopping to talk to modrons?
What's wrong with them, Mort?
What's there to say? Annoying little clockwork pests, always working to impose law and order upon the multiverse. Not good, mind you, just law. Let's forget about them and go chat up the ladies, eh?
I don't know. I kind of want to hear what they sound like.
Fine, whatever. But don't say I didn't warn you.
Greetings. The three modrons pivot to you in turn, each taking the cue from another.
Your greeting is returned. Identify yourself to us.
I'm not sure who I am.
We would know why this is so.
I don't know. I just can't remember.
All things should have a name. All things should be identified. We find your answer unsatisfactory. but it shall have to suffice for the present. We would identify ourselves as Modrons, Quadron type, winged variant to the subject.
I see. Can I ask, what are you doing here?
Our purpose here is observation.
What are you observing?
We are observing one of the establishment staff.
Who are you observing?
As previously stated, we are observing one of the establishment staff.
Yes, but who exactly are you observing?
The object of our scrutiny is named Delora.
Why are you watching her?
We have not been informed as to the specific purpose or purposes which resulted in our being given our present task.
Okay. I say, I have this toy. Do you know what it is?
The clock and the quadrone. Once upon a time, there existed a Modron. It was newly created, its logic fresh and untested, and it had come to Sigil, following the commands of its Modron superiors.
Go on.
It knew of nothing but commands and dictates, of obedience and passing along the orders of its superiors. For you see, Modrons are only aware of the commands of their immediate superiors. They have no grasp of a higher authority. Until this one.
Go on.
One day, they came upon a small shop, within which there was a small clock that could no longer tell time. It was cracked along the edges, the wheels of its hands broken. The Modron immediately set itself to work at getting the parts to fix the broken clock. It made a new wooden housing for the clock's parts, replaced the bent springs, carefully filed and oiled the clockwork machinery, and carved new hands from the sparse metal available to it. And the newly repaired clock's precise ticking reminded it of the great gears of Mechanus, and it comforted it as much as anything may comfort a Modron.
Go on.
What the Modron never came to understand was that it truly loved this clock that it had worked on, and for reasons it could not explain, elected to remain in Sigil and be with the clock for the rest of its years.
Greetings.
Before you is a dark-haired, pale-skinned woman with eyes the color of brushed steel. She sits at a small, round, marble-topped table with the ordered composure of a painter's subject.
Greetings. I'm called Delora. Please sit.
Even as she ushers you to the stool opposite her, her movements are precise and sparing.
May I serve you somehow?
In what ways can you serve me, Delora?
She blinks her eyes, then touches her hand to her heart, bowing her head slightly.
I am able to debate any scholarly or academic matter quite proficiently, if that is your wish. I'm also well-versed in various games of strategy, should you wish to play something, though I have the materials for few such games here.
Debating and games. I will say this is not what I was expecting to hear when I entered a place called a brothel.
Then you must have been mistaken as to the purpose of this establishment. The brothel caters to lusts of the cerebral sort, and not those of the loins. In any case, I can assure you I would make a most unsatisfactory partner.
Oh? Why would you say that?
That is simply my nature. Allow me to show you.
Delora runs the back of her hand along your forearm. Her skin is smooth and dry, but cold, like chilled iron. The touch sends a shiver down your spine and sets the hairs of your arm on end.
Do not trouble yourself to ask who or what I am, for I will only tell you that this is simply my nature.
Very well. You had mentioned debating.
Delora nods.
That is correct. I am neither a tome nor a tutor. I have no desire to educate my patrons. Should you have a matter to discuss, however, the 15 factions and their effect on Sigilian politics, the most effective battle stratagems for warring in Acheron, the meaning of existence itself, I would be most pleased to choose a counterpoint and engage you in debate.
What about death?
What about it?
The debate lasts a long time, as the two of you exchange points and counterpoints, each attempting to methodically undermine the other's position. As you speak, a strange feeling begins to come over you. A memory trying to surface. The vision of a great hall begins to form in your mind. A vast place, full of well-dressed governors and emissaries. A formal ball was taking place. Before you, there was a small, impeccably dressed fellow who wore a golden medallion. It was emblazoned with a symbol you dimly recall as the sign of one. The two of you stood in a circle of onlookers who've gathered to listen to your debate.
But that's impossible!
The man was saying, looking perplexed.
Oh, but it is.
You recall yourself replying.
I've made several inarguable points and given you a number of examples. You simply don't exist.
You can't. Were I to accept that, I'd...
Yes, you'd cease to exist.
And without a flash of light or puff of smoke, and with no fanfare of any sort, the man was simply gone. The onlookers oohed and ahed. Some clapped. You remember giving a flourishing bow and walking away, a small, satisfied smile upon your lips.
Are you feeling well? We might finish our discussion at another time, should you like.
No. Let's continue the debate. Though Delora is extremely hard-pressed to beat you, she eventually prevails. Her infallible sense of logic at last wins out over even your most brilliant arguments. She seems to take no joy in her victory, however, merely nodding in approval.
You are a most skilled debater. There is no denying. I feel that, had you time to perform some research, I might not have bested you.
I don't know. You're quite an opponent. Delora nods.
If you would like, we can debate once more upon the same topic. I could argue your position this time, should you desire it.
Oh, wait. Are you always so ruthless in a debate? Delora nods again.
Yes. I don't think it would serve anyone to concede after such a hard-fought exchange. Perhaps, instead, you would try me at a game?
Yes, I'd like that.
Of course. Is there anything in particular you wish to play?
No. I don't really remember any games.
Here then, allow me to show you one.
Delora brings out a thin, lacquered box, which unfolds into a small board marked with a grid. The contents of the box prove to be a number of polished stone chips, half of them black, half of them white.
This game goes by many names. Shall I explain the rules to you?
Yes, please. She explains to you the rules of the game, how the chips are moved, how one bests one's opponent. It seems somehow faintly familiar to you.
The rules are simple, yes? But a great deal of complexity lies within the game itself. It takes a great deal of time to master. Shall we play?
Yes, let's. As you play, you come to realize that you've done so before. You recall various ploys and strategies that have won you previous games, and employ every trick you know to beat her. And again, that strange feeling returns. Memories of a smoke-filled field of battle begin to fill your mind. Atop a great hill overlooking the fighting, you sat, mounted upon a massive four-legged beast. The braying of horns carried your orders to the troops below. Even as you watched, your forces divided, fleeing left and right as the foreign army fought its way up the hill to slay the enemy lord. You, the fools, you had thought, lips curling into a wicked smile.
My knights shall charge down the hillside and stop their advance in an instant. And at that very moment, my retreating footmen will fall in to crush their flanks. Yet another victory soon to be mine.
You suddenly realize Delora is watching you intently.
Again, I must ask you, are you sure you are feeling well?
Yes. Thank you. Let's continue. Delora plays excellently, counteracting all but your most crafty moves. But eventually, your feints and calculating maneuvers win over her well-crafted strategies. She nods approvingly, without a trace of scorn from her defeat.
You are a fine player, perhaps a master. I commend you for your skill.
Thanks. You played as mercilessly as I could hope to expect. Delora nods.
Yes. Mistress Grace instructed me to hold nothing back in either game or discussion, for another of her students plays so that her opponent will always just manage a win. It was Mistress Grace's desire that I provide a different sort of experience, a true challenge, rather than something that might be more pleasing to one's ego.
I understand. Can I ask you something?
Delora casts her eyes to the floor with a sound that might be a sad sigh.
I am willing to serve you as a patron, but have no wish to answer other questions at this time. My apologies, but I fear you shall simply have to bear with that for the time being. We could play another game.
What's wrong? Anything I can help you with?
She looks up from the floor and into your eyes. Once more you are struck by the pale smoothness of skin, the cold depths of her silvery eyes.
No. No, I fear not. My troubles are a matter of the heart. In time, I think, all things shall be resolved.
Are you certain there's nothing I could do?
Certain.
Delora pauses, considering.
No, I am not. If you do truly wish to aid me in this matter, my first love, Merriman, possesses still the keys to my heart. So long as he has them, I shan't be free to love another. This is the cause of my melancholy.
Why don't you seek him out? Speak with him.
Delora shakes her head.
I may not leave this place. The reasons why are deeply personal and not to be shared with strangers, even ones who might bestow a kindness upon me. But suffice to say that I cannot seek out Merriman myself.
Well, if that's the case, then I'll find this Merriman. And I'll speak to him on your behalf.
Delora nods, the slightest hint of a smile appearing on her lips. She then bows her head.
Were you to find and speak with Merriman, I would be most grateful. He is a member of the Society of Sensation, so you may wish to ask for him at the Civic Fest Hall.
I shall remember this tale. And now I have one for you.
Go on.
Once came a man who had experienced the most beautiful thing in the multiverse. It was his intention to place the experience within one of the Civic Fest Hall's sensory stones, magical devices which held feelings and memories for an eternity, leaving them for others to partake of.
Go on.
But he thought about it. Wouldn't its being shared dilute the experience? So he held it to himself, precious thing that it was, and aged with the memory. But, as he aged, the memory became tarnished and beaten, and he could no longer recall the glory of the experience.
Mort, do you have a story to trade?
Me? Why do I have to tell a story?
Forget it then.
No. I'll do it. I just thought I'd complain a little out of convention. Besides, I love the attention.
Fine. Go ahead then.
An elderly man was sitting alone on a dark path, right? He wasn't certain of which direction to go, and he'd forgotten both where he was traveling to and who he was. He'd sat down for a moment to rest his weary legs, and suddenly looked up to see an elderly woman before him. She grinned toothlessly, and with a cackle, spoke.
Go on, Mort.
Now your third wish. What will it be? Third wish? The man was baffled. How can it be a third wish if I haven't had a first and second wish? You've had 2 wishes already, the hag said. But your second wish was for me to return everything to the way it was before you had made your first wish. That's why you remember nothing, because everything is the way it was before you had made any wishes. She cackled at the poor Burke. So it is that you have 1 wish left.
Go on, Mort.
All right, said the man. I don't believe this, but there's no harm in wishing. I wish to know who I am. Funny, said the old woman, as she granted his wish and disappeared forever. That was your first wish?
In another part of the brothel, you find a room filled with countless half-painted canvases and little bundles of scrap paper. Bunches of flowers sit in vases on every shelf, some bright and flourishing, but most at differing stages of decay. An artist's nest if you had ever seen one. And at the heart of it all, bundled herself in a nest of blankets, is a young woman staring listlessly off into space, sighing with melancholy and occasionally picking at the seams of a velvet gown, her fingers stained with paint and charcoal.
Greetings, my lady.
She gives you only the briefest of glances before staring off into the distance once more. It's difficult to discern whether she's depressed or simply bored.
Greetings. Yes, I am named Juliet. How may I... Ugh, never thou mind. Thou don't look like the sort that cares for all that. Thou may stay, but I have little will to converse, or leave if that's why thou art here.
She gives an exasperated sigh and begins staring into the charcoal sketch that had just drifted to the floor.
What's wrong?
Oh, nothing at all. Only that I spend my days gazing into the face of mediocrity, seeing if anything can erase its dreadful, tedious passage.
This particular sketch seems to be a self-portrait, based on what you can see.
Is your life so tedious?
Alas, it is.
She sighs, closing her eyes and massaging her temples.
Dreadfully boring.
Well, perhaps I could make it less boring for you, my lady.
No, 'tis kind of thee to offer, though. I am already with someone, sir, and I do love him dearly. 'Tis just that I wish...
She taps her finger against her chin.
Something more of our liaison?
Is the relationship lacking, then?
The only thing it lacks is... excitement, sir. Our families took the news of our courtship splendidly. His siblings love my siblings, and our friends think our union to be blessed by the powers themselves. All is fine and good, but things are going so smoothly. 'Tis not right to have such a trouble-free courtship.
I don't know about that.
Dost thou not? Hast thou ever had such a courtship?
She glances briefly at you, then double takes as she notices your scars.
'Twould seem that thy life is filled with a variety of problems, judging by the pallor of thy skin.
She frowns deeply as she takes in your visage. Then she picks up a piece of charcoal and some paper and begins scratching away.
I can't remember any courtships I have had. The remnants of the ones I have encountered suggest that I may have had some problems.
'Tis just that. All my friends have such interesting relationships. One's fraught with turmoil, feuding families, daggers at one another's backs, poison and mad siblings, and irate fathers with large swords. I have a lover whose family loves me and whom the world loves. A great source of annoyance. How I wish I could formulate something to spice things up.
That doesn't sound wise, Juliet. I would relish what you have.
I wish to experience troubles, though. I wish to experience the ups and downs of courtship. But with him, no other. Such a thing is love. It can be dull as a club and is of no use to an aspiring sensate.
What did you have in mind to spice things up?
I'm not sure. Some element of danger or jealousy, something intense.
Why not have an affair?
She stops sketching and smirks.
What? And with you, I suppose? No, I'm flattered, I'm sure. I'm just teasing you. But I could never go through with it. I don't actually want to hurt him, you see.
All right. Well, why don't you make up some fake love letters to suggest a hidden affair?
Juliet's eyes brighten.
Oh, excellent notion, most excellent. But he knows my handwriting. Ooh, wilt thou write some for me?
Not my sort of thing. I can maybe find you some, though.
Oh, wouldst thou? Excellent. And when thou dost find some, please give them to my love Montague. He may be found within the Civic Festival.
Anna, do you have a story to trade?
Hey, I'm not good at telling such things, I'm not. Don't you be asking me for such nonsense now?
Come on, fiendling. You already have one tale you won't pop with.
Wait. Well, I know one story, but you might not like it. You won't. So don't be blaming me for you choking it out of me.
Go ahead, Anna.
I heard a story when I was a wee lass. This Burke's walking home real late near Auntie Peak and passes an old toothless crone in the dark and in the otherwise empty street. Where you going? She asks him. Home, to me wife and Kip, he says. Near the Slags? She asks him. Sure enough, he says. So she asks him a favour to take a box she's got to a debtor's pit and give it to the woman there. Now, this Burke's a real sap. Too nice to say no, despite the fact he's sure something's not quite right about this old crone. And he agrees. But what's the woman's name? He asks. Where does she live? Where should I look for her if she's not by Debtor's Pit? The woman hands him the box, a wooden thing, wrapped in coloured cloth, and tells him to just go, and she'll be there. Finally, she warns him, and whatever you does, do not open the box.
Go on.
So, he takes it home with him and hides it in the rafters, thinking he'll bring it by Debtor's Pit when it's light out. His wife, though, seeing him hide in the box, gets right jealous, thinking it's a gift for her lover or something, and opens it up as soon as he's not looking. Well, turns out the box was full of gouged out eyes and severed male members with the hair still on him. Her scream brought the Burke running. He remembered what the crone said, got right scared, and wrapped the box back up. He went out straight away to Debtor's Pit. And sure enough, there was another old hag waiting there for him. He hands her the box, and she says to him, "This box has been opened and looked into." The poor Burke tries to deny it, but she gets this dreadful look on her face. "You've done something horrible," she tells him, then disappears. That done, he hurries back to his Kip. He's feeling ill when he gets back and takes to bed. His wife bitterly regretted opening the box and all. But it was too late. The next day, he died of a rotten disease. And the first things to go was his eyes and stem.
Anna nods grimly, her tale complete. Yves smiles.
That was a wonderful tale, Anna. You should never hesitate to share it.
I had a question for you, Yves.
Yves nods quietly.
Why are you called the Tale Chaser?
Once upon a time, a girl came to an oracle who was rumoured to know many things and asked of it a boon. Her life was in need of direction, so she asked this oracle as to what would give her purpose.
Go on.
Now, the oracle was not evil, but it was vague and tended towards drink, which caused it to be obscure in many matters of judgment and focus. Its only answer to the girl's question was that within one story that she would hear in her lifetime was the truth that she sought. The girl went off and collected stories, which she chases to this day, not knowing which of the thousands hold the truth. Such is the danger of a foolish question, and the wisdom of an unspoken one. And now, the execution. Once, a murderer roamed Sigil streets, a black-hearted man by the name of Cossacks. He had been blessed by his abyssal mother so that no one could strike him with an intent to harm, or they themselves would die. He revelled in his blessing, using it to start fights and murder anyone who crossed his path. During one of his murderous rages, he was captured by the Harmonium with nets and brought before the governors. The trial was short, final, yet Cossacks laughed at the proceedings, knowing that no one among them could harm him without dying horribly. At the final day of his trial, he was proclaimed guilty and sentenced to death. Cossack's sentence proclaimed by the governors was this: confinement for thrice 30 days, during which time you shall give up your life, be declared dead, and your body removed when all signs of life cease. Cossacks laughed and dared any of them to try and harm him. Yet the court was silent. The mercy killers led Cossacks to their prison and locked him in a dark, empty cell. There was no cot, no lights, and the only door was a steel grate in the ceiling. As they lowered him into the cell, the mercy killer told him, in the corner of your cell, you will find a chalice. It holds poison. Your death will be swift. Aren't you going to execute me? Cossacks snarled at the guard. No one in Sigil shall lay a hand on you with intent to harm, came the mercy killer's reply. Then I spit on your cowardice, Cossacks laughed, feeling for the chalice in the darkness, and hurling it at the wall and shattering it. Its poison dripped from the walls and dried, until it was no more. Come then, you will have to try and kill me now. But there was no response from the grate in the ceiling. It was then that Cossacks noticed the cell had no cot, no lights, and no food and water. All that remained was the shattered chalice, the poison gone. And for the first time, Cossacks knew the icy touch of death's approach. In twice 30 days, the grate opened, and Cossack's body, now cold, was taken from the cell. It had given up its life, and the execution had been carried out.
Thank you for listening to Planescape Torment, the unofficial audio series, a RevocerGM production. To support the show and those involved, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or donating via our Ko-fi page. Links to both are in the description.